Today we're going to be sharing some tips and tricks that we learned while making our sewing machine dust cover. A lot of DIY is trial and error, so we thought we'd share what we learned so that we can help you out on your next project. So tip number 1 is to use the edge of the inside presser foot as a 1/8 inch seam allowance guide. We mentioned this tip in the dust cover video, but it's helpful for any application that needs a seam an 1/8 inch away from the edge of the fabric. The Fabricator has seam allowance markings on the stitch plate as small as a 1/4 inch, but anything smaller can be tricky to keep consistent, so knowing this quick trick can be very helpful. The second tip we have from this video is to size up your cording foot when you're sewing through thicker applications. We would typically recommend using a 3/16 inch piping foot for the type of cording we were using, but since we were sewing through multiple layers of Durawax and vinyl, we found it much easier to feed the thick fabric through a larger piping foot, which is why we ended up using the 1/4 inch piping foot. Our third tip is also about Fabricator presser feet. When we were prototyping, we opted to use the left zipper foot when we were sewing the top stitch on our front pocket. We found this foot to be a lot easier to maneuver. Its smaller size helped us achieve the narrow stitch that we were looking for under the piping. We would recommend this foot for more than just zippers. You can use it when you want to sew extra close to anything, including piping. Our final tip from this DIY is to use acrylic dye when concealing the ends of piping. When we were prototyping this project, we didn't love how the exposed piping ends looked on the bottom of our project, so we used Phoebe's acrylic dye to blend them into the vinyl that we chose. This isn't a necessary step, but we found it gave our project a more finished look. And those are just a few helpful tips from our most recent DIY. And if you haven't already watched it yet, we've linked it down in the description below, so make sure to check that out. And if you want to see more DIY videos, make sure to subscribe to our channel so that you'll never miss one of our videos.